Your HR department might have a secret weapon that it's not maximizing, and that is continuous improvement training that sticks. In today's episode of Mic Drop Insights and Lessons from CI Thought Leaders, my guest is Iolanda P, where she talks about how HR and the training that you put forward with your team and continuous improvement ensures retention of talent. One of the things that you mentioned there that really kind of sparked me was because you talked about HR a little bit a while ago as well. I also think the selection of those that you're training needs to be tied in closely with HR. And that's whether it's a succession planning and you're looking at who are your future leaders, who are your up and coming high performing people, how do you want to develop those people, even though you may put them in a position where somebody else wants them and can offer them another job, you're going to get a certain amount of loss from the training that you give these people, but it's an investment in them and it's an investment in your company. And tying training to succession planning, especially in the culture of creating continuous improvement culture, I think is so critical.
100%. And I can give you a real case example of this. So some hospitals I've worked with, they haven't done that alignment. And what happened is as soon as the training is done, so within the year, they move on to another hospital. So they lost a talented person. All that time, it goes to someone. Yes, it still stays within NHS, but a completely different hospital. While other hospitals I've been working with, what they've done is exactly what you said. They work with the HR and the education team and also the line manager. So this person is doing this as part of their personal development plan. So what does that mean in 1, 2, 3 years time? They end up either giving more responsibility, and when there's a job opening, there you go. And that's important to retain that talent. Because when companies release people to go into trainings, those are hours that they're going away. There's knowledge that's going to them. But if we don't give them the right opportunities, they're going to take that knowledge somewhere else. So the company becomes the one at loss, really.
And I always say the return on the investment of the training and the development isn't that first project. That's the first piece of the return on the investment. The real return on the investment comes from their second and third projects. And as they repeat and do more continuous improvement, that's where your real return on the investment comes. So while you might measure it based on, one certification project or one project, it really comes from the ones that they do after they've been initially trained, right?
Exactly. And I will go even furthermore is not only about the second and third project, but also when they start coaching others on how to implement the projects. And that's why it's so important that these trainings, or it could be training or workshop, is not just a one-off. There needs to be a refresher. There needs to be a time that when they are completed within either 6 or 8 months time, another refresh, another opportunity of a project to apply and actually train others. The best way to learn is by teaching. They always said that in university. If you really wanted to fully understand the concept, is by teaching others. So allow yourself to do that. It's really important.
I think it is, and I do that with a lot of the teams that I support. Is I coach them, I put them in the leadership role, even challenging them to teach certain things, certain modules, lead workshops, and I observe and help and support. But it's really important to let them grow. And to your point, failure doesn't necessarily mean failure, because you're not going to let them fail as your coach. As their coach, you're going to help them succeed. But it's okay, so you can grow in the struggle sometimes, right?
And I feel that nowadays in today's society, there's such a negative cognitive link to failure. Failure is actually a really good thing. If we think about, again, you can totally tell I'm a mother. I'm going to give another example of my toddler. So if you think about parents with kids, with toddlers, you need to let them fall to learn that that hurts. That actually that's not the way. You need to let them, when they are feeding themselves, spill a little bit of food. That's wrong. That's not how you feed yourself. Now you learn how to do it. Failure is really a good opportunity And in fact, it's better to do it earlier than later, because then it gives you resilience. For someone that has never failed throughout their life, then suddenly at 30, 40 fails, that's a big crush to their morale. So it's important actually to fail in the first project, I would say. Not completely, obviously, if there's patient lives at stake, but failing some level, it's normal. It's human beings. You learn from it. And that's why I
Absolutely.
actually get excited when things go wrong. That means that, okay, I need to find another way. And it's just that mentality that actually mistakes, errors, that means that there's more work to be done.
More work to be done. Yeah, I like that. What's been your favorite influential book as it relates to your continuous improvement journey? I've been asking some of my guests of what book resonated most with them.
There's been quite a few. I think I believe that one of the titles is Toyota is the Way has been one of the biggest one. Um, the Lean Way also. There's quite a few, but what I would say is my favorite one, and not per se just the content, is because it was one of the first books it was given to me when I started the Lean Six Sigma, and I always carry with me is this one. It's a small little book.
I have the
It's
same
like a
book, right?
you have the same
I
book.
do. Yeah, yeah, I have the same book. Oh, too funny. Where's where is it? I've got a couple here. Anyway, I got it right here somewhere. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. You can totally tell how used. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see it's all kind of ripped and all that. I've used
yeah,
this book so often, so
yeah,
often.
yeah.
And it's
Too
just
funny.
because the memories I have with the book, and it's so practical to always carry with me within all the training
Yeah.
sessions, the stats on why do you do this
I
and
have
why not. Oh,
I
I
have a
love that. I
bunch.
love that.
I've
I
got a
love that.
bunch. I've got a whole bunch. Yeah, but
Um,
like you,
but
that's
there's
funny.
plenty of books out there. They're absolutely amazing. I mean, yours is one of them. You already released and
Thank
launched
you.
your book. Um,
Thank
but
you.
but I think what is really important is to always be intellectual, have that intellectual curiosity. You know,
Mm,
every single book there's something valuable, and you need to reach out and read it and actually absorb it. Be passionate about it. That's
yeah.
how when you really embrace Lean Six Sigma, I would say.
Yeah, I every book I've written, like if I just reach over to any book and pull it off my shelf, it's always got, tabs and notes in it. And yeah, so yeah, I read a book for consumption, write it down, and then apply it as soon as I can. If I've learned something, how quickly can I apply what I'm learning? Because I think, as I said, knowledge is inventory until it's put to work. Well, if you got value out of that conversation I had with Iolanda P, you're certainly not going to want to miss episode 4 of my 4-part series with Iolanda, where she talks about unlocking the potential of your team. Be sure to like, subscribe, add your comments. Love to hear from you, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.